Tozani Emakosini. Um, I'm sorry about how the live went. The network was bad, and I just couldn't. I was gonna be losing my trail of thought, but nonetheless, I'm recording this, so I'm gonna just start again. So I want to know from anyone who has, and from the Christian setup, has anyone heard a teaching or preaching that takes into account the prophecy given to Abram of Genesis 15:16, about slavery, from the New Testament or from the book of Revelations? Uh, I'm yet to hear that from a Christian pastor. So this week I was reminded by the Holy Spirit by about a dream that I had in 2016. So 2016 I just finished my first qualification, and I was at home, and I did my qualification in Cape Town. So in my dream, I was back in Cape Town. So long story short, towards the end of the dream, I'm with a student friend of mine at the time, and we're going up the staircase, and we enter this attic, okay? And this attic, it's full of books, like bookshelves, books along the walls. There's no wall that didn't have a bookshelf stacked with a whole lot of books. And I was happy because I love books, I love reading. So, and I specifically like reading things to do with God, understand? So I got straight to looking, okay, and I found a Bible. But even in that room, there was a lot of tables, okay, with books, piles and piles of books, just stacked books, just stacked. Okay, so my friend picks out a book, I pick out a Bible, I open it, and then it happens to open to the book of Revelations. So I read, and somehow it dawns on me that they're changing the book of Revelation, the book of Revelations. And I was just overwhelmed, and shocked. And I ended up being exclaiming, they're changing the book of Revelations. And everyone is turning to look at me because now I'm making a noise. It's almost like a library and everyone is quiet. But here I am, I'm exclaiming, I'm shouting, they're changing the book of Revelations. And as I'm realizing all of that, then the dream ended and I woke up and I didn't understand, okay, until this week when the Holy Spirit brought that dream back to me. So, let us begin. Let's read from Matthew 24. From verse 36 to 39. But of that day and hour knoweth no man, no, not the angels of heaven, but my Father only. But as the days of Noah were, so shall the coming of the Son of Man be. Okay. For as in the days that were before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage, until the day that Noah entered into the ark, and knew not until the flood came, and took them all away. So shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. Okay. So I want us to take note, okay? Makosi. That what Msindisi is trying to also bring across here is that in those days, okay, in those days, in the days of Noah, it didn't look like there was impending doom, okay? Things looked normal despite the wickedness that was going on. It didn't look as if the days of Noah, it didn't look like it was going to be like a flood or anything, all right? And that was the problem, okay? Also, that they didn't have an idea of what is a flood, what to expect, what are you talking about? It's like you're talking gibberish, like we're not understanding this concept that you're bringing about of a flood, okay? So he's establishing that, okay, that it's gonna look normal, okay? And it's certain deception causing us to sleep. You understand? There's a certain deception that is gonna be around. That's why he also gave the parable of the 10 virgins. Okay, so so things are gonna be looking normal, and there's not gonna be any like obvious things of impending doom. Things are gonna be like people are gonna be happy. Things is gonna be like normal. Okay, and that is also a problem, and that's why he gave us the hints and the signs, okay, to pick up that even though it looks like it is normal, there is impending doom coming. Ooh, makosa makulu. Okay, so let's go to Genesis 15. And we're going to read from verse 12. And when the sun was going down, a deep sleep fell upon Abram, and lo, an horror of great darkness fell upon him. And he said unto Abram, Know of a surety that thy seed will be a stranger in a land that is not theirs, and shall serve them. They shall afflict them 400 years. And also that nation whom they shall serve will I judge, and afterward shall they come out with great substance. Okay, so I want us to take note here so far. This specific order, okay, the 400 years, all right? And then after the 400 years, this nation will be judged, okay? And then you'll come out with great substance, okay? Okay. And thou shalt go to thy fathers in peace, and thou shalt be buried in a good old age. But in the 4th generation shall they come hither again, for the iniquity of the Amorites is not yet full. All right. So it's the 400 years and then the 4th generation. Okay. Please remember that the 4th generation. Okay. When the 4th generation is around, it means that this cup of iniquity of the Amorites is going to be full. So when they go into slavery, okay, that's when the cup starts filling up. And then at the end of the 400 years, in the 4th generation, that cup of iniquity will be full, and then the nation will be judged. So I want us to keep that order, okay? This is the whole prophecy. And in fact, this is the Bible. This prophecy is exactly the book of Revelations, and we're going to look into that. So, in the fourth generation, okay, they shall come hither again, for the iniquity of the Amorites is not yet full. And it came to pass that when the sun went down and it was dark, behold, a smoking furnace and a burning lamp that passed between those pieces. In the same day, the Lord made a covenant with Abram, saying, Unto thy seed have I given this land, from the river of Egypt unto the great river of the Euphrates. And the Kenites and the Kenzites and the Kadmonites and the Hittites and the Perizzites and the Rephaims and the Amorites and the Canaanites and the Girgashites and the Jebusites. Okay, so I want you to notice the order. Okay, they will go into slavery. Okay, and the reason why we're going to be they went into slavery is probably because of iniquity, in any case, in their behalf. Okay, nonetheless, they will go into slavery. After 400 years, during the 400 years, the cup of iniquity of the Amorites is going to be filling up. Okay, after the 400 years, that cup, and in that generation, of that fourth generation, that cup will be full, the nation will be judged, and they will come out hither, back to the promised land. Okay, so it's important now, because we've been looking at the wrong people who are telling us that they are the real people. They're the chosen seed, and which makes the book not to make sense. But when you look at the book with us being the chosen people, it makes a whole lot of sense, and the picture starts to look differently, and that's the reason the dream was coming forward to me. All right, I'm going to explain this. So I want us to read from Cindy said from the book, as in the days of Noah. Okay, so we're going to look at the days of Noah, the things that were going on and taking place. Okay, so I'm going to look from the book of Jubilees. I had done notes about what was going on in those days. I'm going to look at the book of Jubilees, the book of Jasher, and the book of Enoch. Okay, so I'm going to start from the book of Jubilees. What were the things that were going on in those days? Okay. Man began to multiply and bear daughters, and angels of God took them as wives. So I'm not reading verses, okay? These are just the points that I was putting, okay, this happened, okay. Second, daughters of men gave birth to giants, Nephilim. Third point, and lawlessness increased, and all flesh corrupted its way. Man and beast and cattle and bird, all corrupted in their ways and their orders, their way of life, the way of doing things. They began to devour each other, meaning man and the Nephilims began to devour man, even man devouring man. Okay. They wrought all manner of evil before God's eyes. Every imagination of the thoughts of all men was thus evil continually. God decides to destroy the earth, but Noah found grace. God commands fallen angels to be bound in the depths of the earth. The giants to be smitten by sword and removed from under heaven. Okay, that's according to the book of Jubilees. And I'm not sure what chapter or number it is, but it's the chapter here I'd written, the fall of angels and their punishment, the flood foretold. And then the book of Jasher. Okay, this is chapter 4. Sons of men turned from the Lord. Okay, sons of men turned from God. Anyway, they corrupted the earth. They robbed and plundered each other. They rebelled against God and transgressed. They corrupted their ways. They refused to hearken unto the voice of righteousness. God, in his wrath against them, continued to destroy the seed, meaning food. They would sow into the ground, but thorns and thistles were produced, which did not sow, but still they continued in their evil ways. They provoked God with their evil, and God repented that he made man. Men sowed into the ground, and little food was produced. All sons of men departed from the ways of God as they multiplied. They taught one another their evil practices. Every man made unto himself a god. They robbed and plundered every man, his neighbor, and relative. They corrupted the earth. The earth was filled with violence. The fallen angels went into the daughters of men and took wives by force from their husbands. Hence, okay, let me not go there anyway. Let's go. Sons of men took cattle, beasts, fowls, and taught the mixture of animals of one species with another, just to provoke God. All of nature was corrupted. Okay, so those are the things that were going on in the days of Noah. Okay, and if you look carefully, those things are even happening, but I'll give an example. I will read from the excerpt of, I will read it again because I had done it before, but I will read it again. The excerpt from Ubaba Ukredo Mutwa, his book, Africa's Hidden History. Okay, from the chapter Holy Places in South Africa. So I'll remind you guys, I was listening to an audiobook, so some parts I had skipped, but I was just trying to write the very strikingly important part. So I will read. So there are such creatures. Where they come from, I will never claim to know, sir. But they are associated with certain stars in the sky. And one of these stars is a large group of stars, which is part of the Milky Way, which our people call Ingiyabu, which means the great serpent. And there's a red star, a reddish star near the tip of this huge rim of stars, which our people called Isolenkanyamba. Now, this star, I managed to find the English name, Alpha Centauri. Why is it over 500 tribes in Africa all describe similar creatures? It is said that these creatures feed on us human beings, that they at one time challenged God to war because they wanted full control of the universe. And God fought a terrible battle against them, and he defeated them, injured them, and forced them to hide in cities underground in deep cavities because they are always feeling cold. In these cavities, there are huge fires which are kept going by slaves of human zombies. These Ishwezi or Ingula, he's describing, those are the name of the animals, these creatures, sorry, are not capable of eating our food. They eat human blood or power or energy generated when human beings are fighting and killing each other in large numbers. People who have fled from the early Masaki in Rwanda years ago, these people were horrified by what was happening in their country. They said that the slaughter by the Hutus, by the Tutsis, and the Watutsis by the Hutus is actually feeding the Imanyujuela. This is what they called these creatures in Rwanda. Imanyujuela monsters. Because the Imanyujuela like to inhale the energy that is generated by masses of people being terrified or killed by each other. If you study the languages of all African nations, you'll find within the languages of our people words which are similar to Oriental, Middle Eastern, and even Native American words. And the word Imanyujuela means the Lord who came, a word among anyone can discover in Rwanda amongst the Rwandan Hutu and Watutsi people. And is very similar to the Hebrew word Emmanuel, which means the Lord is with us. Imanyujuela, the ones who came, the Lords who are with us. So I'm pointing this out because this is something that is part of African history. It's just that it takes, it had to take a prophet, one who was entrusted with the like our history, to keep and preserve our history, to tell us and reveal these things, because we would never know it. Okay, yeah, so these creatures, all right, fought with God at one point, and God defeated them and injured them. It is very similar to, I guess, the fallen angel story, okay? And that now they were in the cavities, even this time, in the time of Noah even, okay? It's very similar even to the time of Noah, okay? So them being defeated and force them to hide in cavities, it goes along with the fallen angels being commanded to be bound in the depths of the earth, according to the Book of Jubilees. Okay, but he does state that these creatures feed on human blood. They are cannibalistic. Okay, so it's something that already was happening. Sure, I'm not even sure, but like within the history that we have after the death of Umsindis. Okay, so sure, we're gonna go deep here. We're going deep, guys. Bear with me. So these are the types of wickedness and lawlessness that was taking place, and these are the things that were taking place in the days of Noah. So Msindisi is saying, as in the days of Noah, okay, it will be like this. But the trick is, people will be eating, drinking, marrying, giving in marriage. Things will be normal. It won't look like, okay, it won't look like there's an impending doom. And this is how it's going to be at the end. Okay. So I want us to read from Wisdom of Solomon. I need to bring this over here, excuse me. We're going to read from the Wisdom of Solomon from Okay, excuse me, this is very slow. Okay, so while this is waking up, so I want us to take note also from the things that I'm going to share with you from the wisdom of Solomon. Okay, good. Is that the things in the days of Noah are happening today, okay? And the wisdom of Solomon is going to show how it started, okay, and its plan and its cause, okay? So we're talking also, I want you to remember that this is a cup of iniquity that is being filled, okay? That was being filled even at the time of Noah, okay? In those days, okay? And so and it filled to a point where God had to destroy, okay? And I want you to take note that even in the days of Noah, how that everyone made a god unto themselves, all right? And the resulting disobedience, okay, that happened. And I want you, okay, let's go and read. Let's read from Wisdom of Solomon. We're going to read from chapter 14 again, like last week, but we're going to read from verse 8. But the idol made with hands is accursed. I remember the verse, please remember also the verse that God had spoken to Joshua, that touch not the accursed thing. And he spoke to the people, you must touch not the accursed thing. Okay, otherwise you yourself will be cursed. So, but the idol made with hands is accursed, itself and he that made it, because he was the working and the corruptible thing called a god. Okay? For both the ungodly and his ungodliness are alike hateful to God. Okay? So the accursed thing here is this image of Umsindisi, the visage and everything, and yeah, it's accursed. The accursed thing is this image of Umsindisi, okay? And itself and he that made it is cursed, because he was the working and the corruptible thing was called a god. And so because it was called a god, it became cursed. All right, that's everything that stems from the image of the white man. For truly, for both the ungodly and his ungodliness are alike hateful to God. For truly the deed will be punished together with him who committed it. The deed will be punished with him who committed it. Therefore, also there will be a visitation among the idols of the nation, because though formed of things which God created, like wood, they were abomination, stumbling blocks to the souls of men, and a snare to the feet of the foolish. Okay. So this is how we went into slavery. I beg you, at some point. Even how that we are in slavery even now. Okay. When they sent out these missionaries, people to explore and write and report back, okay? They brought this image that had corrupted our ways, okay? And it resulted because in the days of Noah, everyone made a god unto themselves. This image has been made a god and is therefore cursed, okay? And resulted in us going into slavery, all right? The captivity of the Bantus. At the same time, the cup of iniquity began to fill. Therefore, okay, a stumbling blocks, though formed of things which God created, they were made an abomination. Stumbling blocks, abomination, and accursed thing. Stumbling blocks to the souls of men, and a snare to the feet of the foolish. For the devising of idols was the beginning of fornication, spiritual fornication, and the invention of them, the corruption of life. Okay. And who invented this image? Who is responsible for the corruption of life? Who invented this image? It was the Vatican. Okay. It is the Vatican. It's wrong. Everything there. You know it. Okay. We know this, right? It's the Vatican. Okay. Created this image. For the devising of idols was the beginning of fornication, and the invention of them, the corruption of life. For they didn't exist from the beginning, and they won't exist forever. For by the boastfulness of men, they entered into the world because of what? White supremacy? Anyway, and therefore a speedy end was planned for them. For a father worn with untimely grief, making an image of the child quickly taken away, now honored him as a god, which was then a dead human being, and delivered to those that were under him mysteries and solemn rites. Afterward, the ungodly custom, in process of time, grown strong, was kept as a law, and the engraved images received worship by the commandment of kings. Okay, so that's what they did when the Vatican created this thing. Then they said, this is there's a law. You go out, you conquer, and you must convert. You must convert, and when you convert, you must worship white man. And when men could not honor them in presence because they lived far off, imaging the likeness from afar, they made a visible image of the king whom they honored, that by their zeal they might flatter the absent as if present. But worship was raised to yet a higher pitch, even by those who didn't know him, urged forward by the ambition of the architect. Who are those who didn't know him? Urged forward by ambition of the architect. You understand? The architect of, missionaries and pastors and all of those, you understand? You understand? They didn't know him. They were doing it in ignorance. You understand? For he, wishing perhaps to please his ruler, okay? And this is the person, this is the person who created the image, the actual person that, was it Michelangelo? Not sure. Or Leonardo, one of the two. For he, wishing perhaps to please his ruler, used his art to force the likeness toward a greater beauty, to make him like Caesar Borgias. So the multitude, allured by reason of the grace of his handiwork, now considered an object of devotion him that was a little before was honored as a man. And this became an ambush, because men in bondage either to calamity or tyranny invested stocks and stones with the name that shouldn't be shared, the incommunicable name. Okay, this became a force, okay, an ambush, because men, the Bantus, whether in bondage, either to calamity or tyranny, okay, had to ascribe the incommunicable name to sticks and stones. Yo. Makos. Afterward, it was not enough for them to go astray concerning the knowledge of God. It was not enough, okay, that they should go astray concerning the knowledge of God, but also while they live in a great war of ignorance, they call a multitude of evils peace. For either slaughtering children in solemn rites, or celebrating secret mysteries, or holding frenzied revels of strange customs. Okay, this is what they do behind the door. Excuse me. This is what the church does behind the door. You understand? We all know, like, what they do with the children, and how they are connected with Freemasonry and etc. Okay, they call a multitude of evils peace. For either slaughtering children in solemn rites, or celebrating secret mysteries, or holding frenzied revels of strange customs, no longer do they guard either life or no longer do they guard either life or purity of marriage. So they have a disregard to life. Hence their even this whole thing, ushering the new world order. They are planning on depopulation, reducing the population to 500 million. Okay, so you can imagine that there will be bloodshed, okay, at that time. So they regard neither purity of marriage, okay, so people that just do anybody, you understand, at any time, whether they're married or not. And we hear those stories, and it's not even these people of the secret organization. It's the wickedness that is happening in the world, you understand. Yo. But one brings upon another death by treachery, or anguish by adultery. Okay. Even the slaughtering of children, that is abortion too. You understand? So it's something that's happening all over the world, and it seems like it's normal. People fight for it. They right to do it. Okay? Like, good is evil. Like what they call a multitude of evils peace. Yo. Okay, verse 25. And all things confusedly are filled with blood and murder, theft and deceit, corruption of life, faithlessness, tumult, perjury, confusion about what is good, forgetfulness of favors, ingratitude for benefits, defiling of souls, confusion of sex, disorder in marriage, adultery and wantonness, for the worship of idols that may not be named is the beginning and the cause of every evil. For the worship of idols is the cause and end of every evil. So this is these are the things that are taking place today, okay? And for us, these are the things that have happening since we came into slavery, okay? We can see this all. 28, for their worshippers either make merry to madness or prophesy lies, false prophets, false Christs, and live unrighteously or lightly commit perjury. For putting their trust in lifeless idols when they have sworn a wicked oath, they expect not to suffer harm. Okay, this oath is also very deep because it may speak to the oath of this secret society, but could also speak to the oath of this being born again. But on both counts, the just doom will pursue them, because they had evil thoughts of God by giving heed to idols, and swore unrighteously in deceit through contempt for holiness. For it is not the power of things by which men swear, but it is the just penalty for those who sin that always visits the transgression of the unrighteous. So the causing this creation of this false God caused us to go into slavery, but is also the cause of this cup of iniquity coming about, okay? And it's the people that brought about this image, all right? So I want us to go back to Matthew 24. I hope everyone can understand me. Oh my God. Let your children understand. All right. So we are speaking about the fourth generation. I asked you to please remember the fourth generation. It said the prophecy given to Abraham was stating that in the fourth generation, this nation will be judged and they will come forth with great abundance. Okay, so Matthew 24, 32 to 34. Excuse me. Excuse me. Oh. All right. From verse 32. Now learn a parable of the fig tree. When his branch is yet tender and putteth forth leaves, ye know that summer is nigh. So likewise, ye, when ye shall see all these things, know that it is near, even at the doors. Verily I say unto you, this generation shall not pass until all these things be fulfilled. You see? So that generation that he's speaking about, the generation that will see the things that are taking place from the signs that he's showing and the things that he's talking about. That generation, that's the fourth generation. And that fourth generation shall not pass. What? The earth, what? Yeah, that generation shall not pass until all these things be fulfilled, as the prophecy of Makosi, Abraham. Okay, that in the fourth generation they will come out. I will judge that nation, and then they will come out. Okay, so this is speaking about the judgment. Okay, that time. So we you can take anyhow, but know that this fourth judgment, this fourth generation, the generation that will see the things that have taken place in the days of Noah, when they see them and they recognize them again, know that summer is nigh, even at the doors. When you see the things that are taking place, Makos. Okay, so we're going deeper. All right. So the reason why I say also it's the Vatican, okay? The Vatican has written this, has this papal supremacy, okay? It is a doctrine of the Catholic Church that the Pope, by reason of his office as Vicar of Christ, has full, supreme, and universal power. So universal power means world dominion, okay? Both political and spiritual supremacy. Basically, God on earth, because he's a representative of God. So he's God on earth, okay? All right, so let's take it up from Thessalonians. Marcos. So, like, the reason why the Holy Spirit brought that dream back to me was because of this passage of 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 1 to 4. Okay. So, sure. He was, let me read the passage and then I'll explain what he was saying. Now I beseech you, brethren, by the coming of our Lord Jesus Christ, by our gathering unto him, that ye be not soon shaken in mind, or be troubled, neither by spirit, nor by word, nor by letter, as from us, as that the day of Christ is at hand. Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there be a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition, who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called God, or that is worshipped, so that he is as God, sitteth in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God. Okay. Now, the Holy Spirit was like, this has taken place already. Okay. Because we don't know this, because we are looking at the wrong people. Okay, we've been looking at the wrong people. We've been looking at the Church of Satan as like the clock. Okay, but the clock is us. Okay, and second thing, they don't take into consideration our slavery. You understand? But when you take into consideration our slavery, it has taken place. So, the Great Rebellion, this is what led us into the slavery. You understand? Because we rebelled. You understand? Remember also, Msindisi was talking to Bantus when he explained the times and the seasons and all that stuff. He was talking to Bantus. Makos, you see. So the Great Rebellion, this falling away, the great falling away, is this rebellion that led us into slavery. You understand? And the man of sin was revealed. Vatican. It is the first beast in Revelations. Okay. We'll look at that also. But in the book of Revelation is the first beast from chapter 13. The man of sin, he's the one that caused everyone to fall. You understand? The worshipping of the idols and the corruption, and the one who is filling up this cup of iniquity. Okay. I asked you to take note of the order that in the prophecy. That we will go into slavery, the cup of iniquity will fill, the nation will be judged, the people will go out. Okay, so when we, this great rebellion, we went into slavery, the nation, this man of lawlessness came about, and he has been ruling since. You understand? He's literally been ruling since. You understand? And then his time is to be judged. Okay? So he's the one that opposeth. Because of the papal supremacy, he's the one who opposeth and exalteth himself. You understand? Because we know, okay, just from the image, okay, and the changing of the image of Msindisi, the evils that this wisdom of Solomon is talking about took place. So this is a revelation of Satan's plan, all right? The filling of the cup of iniquity. So the Vatican is the first beast, is the man of sin that has come about. You understand? The dragon gives power to the first beast. The dragon gives power to the second beast. The second beast is your new world order, okay, that they are ushering in, which is primarily what we are actually waiting for right now. It's just the last thing, because after that passage of the second beast, Msindisi and the ancestors come back. Okay, which is as the prophecy of Abraham, that when the cup is full, okay, when they have fully accomplished all that corruption and lawlessness to the brink, okay, Msindisi will come back to judge that nation and gather the people. All right. So, he's saying, secondly, the lawless person, the man of lawlessness is revealed. All right. So we look at this great rebellion, the falling away. Okay. Matthew, we'll go back to Matthew. From verse 10, 11, and 12. And then shall they, let's start from verse 9. Then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted, okay, slavery, and they shall kill you, and you shall be hated of all nations from my sake, from my name's sake. All right. Makosi, the racism that we experience. And then shall many be offended and shall betray one another and hate one another. Why? Because of the wickedness that is coming about because of the cup of iniquity coming up. Okay. And iniquity shall abound, all right? And the love of many shall wax cold. So, oh, sorry, I skipped verse 11. Let me go back to verse 10. And then shall many be offended and shall betray one another and hate one another. And many false prophets shall rise and shall deceive many. Okay, so whilst we're in slavery and the man of lawlessness is like up there, this false prophets are the teachers that have been teaching us in Christianity, okay? Because they do not speak the truth and yet they speak as God, you understand, God's messengers. Msindisi says, take heed that no man deceive you. Many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many. I am Christ. I am Christ-like. I am a Christian, and shall deceive many. These are the false prophets. Okay. And because of iniquity, and because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. This is exactly like Wisdom of Solomon. This is exactly what is happening in the days of Noah, all right? And this is exactly what is happening today. I hate to admit it, but if we look carefully, if we are not in denial, we must see. Okay, so it means that in Matthew 24, when he was speaking about, he was speaking about the slavery, the prophecy to Abraham. He was actually giving reference, you understand, because that is a very important, that prophecy of Abraham is the entire end, is what the entire end is about. You understand? So we've seen the man of lawlessness come about. We've seen the false prophets come about, okay? And note that he's speaking to his disciples privately, the Bantus, all right? He's saying, tell me when shall these things be? And what shall be the sign of thy coming? Number one. Number two, the end of the world. You see, so when this is the whole time, this is the time of his coming, the signs, what it's going to be like. And then from verse 15, it's the signs, what it will be like at the end, you see. So he's talking about, when he starts from 15, he's talking about Makosi. When you therefore shall see the abomination of desolation spoken by Daniel the prophet, all right, the one that makes himself as God and sitteth, you know, with universal power. And yet is part of the church of Satan. Let them which in Jerusalem flee. So when we see the Vatican basically and the Pope establish, let them that are in the Holy Land flee because slavery is coming. You understand? Let them run, wara. Okay, I want to go to verse 21. For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be. The slavery of which we went through, there was not a thing before, neither has there been a thing like it after. All right, and that's Jacob's trouble. Okay? And except those days be shortened, there should no flesh be saved. For the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. Then, if any man shall say to you, here is Christ, or there, believe it not. For there shall arise false Christs and false prophets, who shall show great signs and wonders, because these people actually do witchcraft. They do sorcery. You understand? In so much that if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect. Okay? So after he's even speaking about this, all right, the days will be shortened. Immediately after the tribulation of those days, verse 29, shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens shall be shaken. Then shall the sign of the Son of Man in heaven, and then all the tribes of the earth will mourn. So then the nation will be judged. Okay, and he will send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather, this is verse 31, together his elect from the four winds. Okay, so please note there is no rapture. All right, there's no rapture. There is no rapture. It doesn't say, there's gonna be no, there's no rapture. There's only one gathering. Okay, so we see even here it follows the same prophecy of Abraham. Your children will undergo that 400 years, the great tribulation, the 400 years, but after that I will judge the nation. Okay, I will judge the nation. And I will come back and I will gather my seed. I will gather my chosen people. This generation that sees this shall not pass until all is fulfilled. I hope everyone can hear me and understand what I'm saying. Can we go to Revelations? Okay. So we're going to look at Revelation. From verse 12, it speaks about the woman. Verse 12, chapter 12. It speaks about the woman and the dragon. The dragon we know is Satan. The woman is the Bantus, or but I want us to take note of something here. From verse 17. And the woman was wroth, and the dragon was wroth with the woman, and went to make war with the remnant of her seed, which kept the commandments of God, and have the testimony of Jesus Christ. Okay, so the dragon here in verse 12 went to make war, okay, with the remnant of her seed, us. Okay, you could say even at that point, that is when we go into slavery. All right, then it goes on to chapter 13, and it says, behold, I stood upon the sand of the sea, and I saw a beast rise up. Do you understand that 2 Thessalonians makes sense now? There will be the great rebellion where we will go into slavery, all right? And even that slavery, like, I'm even trying to think, maybe we were not set up. But anyway, we'll go into slavery, and then the beast, the man of sin, is revealed. Okay, the beast, I saw a beast rise out of the sea, having 7 heads, and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his head the name of blasphemy, because he calls himself God. They call themselves God's representative, knowing very well they are deceiving people. Okay. So we move down to verse 7, okay? Chapter 13, verse 7. And it was given unto him to make war with the saints, with the Bantus, and to overcome them. And power was given him over all kinds and tongues and nations. Just the way that the Roman Church has its tentacles everywhere. You understand? Even in Christianity, everywhere it has its tentacles. They are able to influence a population and a nation that is on the opposite side of the world. And all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him, whose names are not written in the book of life of the Lamb, slain from the foundations of the world. If any man have an ear, let him hear. He that leadeth into captivity, like they ordered us, ordered it to be done to us. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the Bantus. Long live the Bantus. Long live. Yeah. So from verse 13, chapter 13, from verse 11 and 18, this is the establishing of now this new world order that they are trying to push this agenda, okay? Because from verse 16 it goes, and he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in the right hand and on the foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark and the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him that have understanding count the number of the beast. It is the number of a man, and his number is 606, 6. So I'm feeling like, this is like a barcode, you understand? Because if you look at that, I think I watched a video where they explain that the barcode has, the base numbers of the barcode is 666. So we would be actually having like our IDs as barcodes labeled there, but anyway, I could be wrong. But 666, okay? Then look where it goes immediately after that. And I looked, and lo, a lamb stood on the mountain, and with him 144,000, and having his father's name written on their foreheads. And I heard a voice, this is the Lamb, this is Msindisi coming back. Can we see the order? The putting of putting into, it follows the sequence of the prophecy given to Abraham, that your seed will go into slavery, the cup of iniquity will keep rising, the things that are stated, the things that were happening in the days of Noah will be happening, you understand? Because at that time, the man of lawlessness has revealed himself, and yet everything will be looking normal. It will not look like we are in impending doom and we are in the last days, you understand? But when the cup of iniquity is full, all right, and it's full with this number of the 6, so once we see the thing, the marking, we know that we may not know the day or the hour, but Msindisi at that point will be coming back. The book of Revelation is about us coming out of slavery and that nation being judged. And let's not get it twisted, they know. I feel like this is the reason why they are pushing up these military experiments and all of these things. And even the changing of kind. We don't know what kind of projects, but they've been doing. But best believe, if you can Google like the changing of kind, the transhumanism, Google, these are the things that are taking place. You understand? So I hope we learned something. Oh, Father, please grant your children wisdom, spirit of wisdom and understanding to receive this message. Please understand that there is no rebuilding of the temple. You understand? I want us to also read from, before I end, I'll close with Daniel 9. Daniel chapter 9, verse 26 and 27. Okay. And after 62 weeks shall Messiah be cut off, but not for himself. And the people of the prince of darkness that shall come shall destroy the city and the sanctuary, and the end thereof shall be with a flood. Hint, hint, as the days of Noah. And the end of the war, desolations are determined. And he shall confirm the covenant with many for 1 week, and in the midst of the week he will cause the sacrifice and the oblation to cease, for the overspreading of abominations he will make it desolate, even until the consummation, meaning the end of the age. And that determined shall be poured on the desolate. Yes. So that which, the building of the temple, you see this order doesn't come again, you understand? And it will not happen for the overspreading of the abominations, the increase of wickedness, until the end of the age. And then that which is determined shall be poured upon the desolate. Okay. So, let us remove ourselves from the accursed thing. That's all I can say. We are sure. We are in the last days, and the last thing that we are looking forward to now is the establishment of the New World Order. And let's not get it twisted. The cup of iniquity is going to be full. There will be utter wickedness and there will be bloodshed. Right now, it's like they're saying it's done behind closed doors, secret rites and secret things. But at some point, these things are going to be coming out. So, let's do introspection. So I will just do the blessing. All right. May God bless you and keep you. May God make his face to shine upon you and be gracious upon you all. May God lift up his countenance upon you and give you all peace. Long live the Bantus. Long live. Emakusi. Tolozan.